When you're requesting a retirement estimate and election form, you can visit our office in Pasadena. We're located at 300 North Lake Avenue at the corner of Corson, the 210 Freeway and Lake, and we do validate parking if you come there. Or you can call our 800 number and request that they send you an estimate and election form in the mail. Our call center is available from 7 a.m. until 5:30, but our public counter is available from 7 a.m. until 5 p.m. Okay, so if you wanted to come and visit us in Pasadena, if you wanted to do a one-on-one retirement counseling, my recommendation will be to be there by at least 3:30 at the latest, because we do not want to rush you. We want to be able to spend time with you and give you guys all the details. But if you come in there 5 minutes to 5, we do close at 5. It's going to be very impossible for us to sit down and give you a full counseling. You can send us an email at welcome@lacera.com. Maybe you can't come to the call center. Maybe you can't call us. They would be able to reply to some of your concerns. If you needed to update your beneficiaries, I did bring some forms out with me and return envelopes. Or again, you can go onto our website, download the forms, or call our call center and they would be able to update your LACERA beneficiaries for you. At the time of retirement, or if you were just visiting our offices for counseling, you can bring in your original certified marriage certificate. We'll just make a photocopy of it and give it right back to you. We would need that on file when you're ready to retire. If you were married during your county career and there's a dissolution of marriage and the ex-spouse may be entitled to a portion of the benefit, it's a good idea to bring that document to LACERA as well. That way when you do go to retire, there's not going to be a long delay in getting your retirement benefit. Although there may be some delays, it may not be as lengthy if we have everything on file earlier rather than later. If you have minor children, or if you're going to take an option that allows your spouse to receive a higher benefit, we would need to see the original birth certificates or passports, and we'll make photocopies of those, and I'll talk about those options in just a moment. And then there's a 1-year requirement for the spouse or domestic partner to receive a continuing benefit from your LACERA benefit after you were to retire. To apply for retirement, basically you have to fill out a retirement benefit and election form. You can't just pick up the phone and call LACERA and say, hey, I'm going to retire. You can't tell one of your friends or your supervisor, I'm going to retire, but you never let LACERA know, okay? We have to know, and it must be in writing. Sign and return the form to LACERA, and we can only accept it no sooner than 90 days before your effective retirement date. So if you're thinking about retiring next March, unfortunately, we cannot take that from you today. It must be 90 days prior to March 31st, and it must be in writing submitted to LACERA. We have had cases where people have come in not knowing why they haven't received their retirement check, and we looked through their file, and guess what? They never told us. They just told a friend. So you must let us know, okay? When we're talking about eligible survivors for a continuing benefit, an eligible survivor could be your spouse, married, or registered domestic partner. And again, you must have been married or registered domestic partner 1 year prior to your retirement date. For domestic partners, you had to have been registered in the state of California only, and if it's the same sex, both people have to be 18 or older. If it's opposite sex, one person must be 62 or older, okay? Other eligible survivors could be your minor children, natural step, or adopted, okay? And the spouse more than likely will supersede anybody, but we'll talk about the options as far as how that goes when you're ready to retire. If you don't have a spouse, or if you don't have any minor children or children, other beneficiaries would be a person with an insurable interest in your life. May not be eligible for a survivor continuance unless you decided to take less at retirement to provide that person that benefit. But if you were to pass away as an active county employee, you want to make sure your beneficiaries are up to date if you are in plans A, B, C, or D only, to make sure that money will be paid out to the person you want it to be paid out to. If you have a trust can only receive a lump sum payment, cannot receive a continuing benefit, okay? So now we're going to talk about retirement options. If you guys can't see the chart, it's in the booklet, and it's on page 17. So earlier when we were talking about the factors, that 47% age, years of service, and average salary, that was based on an option is what we call the unmodified option. That is the highest benefit that LACERA will pay you at retirement. If you have a spouse and you chose that option at retirement, married 1 year prior to retirement, and you are in Plan D, and after retirement you pass away, your spouse will be eligible to collect 65% of what you were receiving for his or her life, for his or her lifetime after you pass away. Under Plan E, if you were to choose the unmodified option, the spouse would receive 55% of what the member was receiving for his or her lifetime after retirement. So if you just wrote us a letter saying, I want to retire on March 31st, and you didn't choose an option, LACERA is automatically going to put you at that unmodified option, okay? Married couples also have another option that they can choose, is what we call the unmodified plus option. You, the member at retirement, will be deciding on whether or not you want to take less at retirement in order to provide a higher continuance for your spouse. So you can say, instead of receiving 47%, maybe I'll take 45% at retirement, and when I pass away, my spouse will receive the same 100% of what I was receiving for their lifetime. And everybody's estimate, again, is going to be different. The unmodified plus option, when you're taking the reduction, it is based on the spouse's age. So if you have a spouse 20 years younger than you, your benefit is going to reduce a lot more if you're wanting to pay that person 100% of what you were receiving for their lifetimes in the event you passed away. Another option is what we call option 1. It's only available to contributory plan members A, B, C, and D. It's not providing a continuance. It's basically only providing a lump sum of contributions, if any, if you were to pass away after retirement. So say, for example, you've contributed to LACERA $200,000 over your career, and now you pass away within maybe a year after retirement. There will more than likely still be monies left in the fund, and LACERA will pay out your beneficiary that lump sum of contributions. Options 2 and 3, again, are options you can choose if you don't have a spouse, or say, for example, you don't want to name the spouse to get the benefit. You want to name maybe your children, your brother, uncle, aunt, friend, somebody, one person only that you can choose to name to receive a continuing benefit for their lifetime in the event you passed away after retirement. Your benefit is going to be reduced to provide that continuance to someone. However, that person will receive either 100% of your monthly allowance or 50% of your monthly allowance. And that's available to all plans A, B, C, and D. Unmodified and unmodified plus options also provide health insurance coverage for your spouse for their lifetimes in the event that you passed away. But options 2 and 3 does not provide health insurance. So if you decided to choose option 2 for the spouse, I don't know why you would do it, but if you did decide to do that, that person would not receive health insurance as well. Option 4 is a customizable option. You can name multiple beneficiaries to receive a continuance for their lifetime. So say you want the spouse to receive some money, you want your kids to receive some money. You're going to take a reduction in your benefit in order to provide all of these people a continuance for their lifetime. The only person that receives health insurance here would be your spouse. So children, once they're adult children, they do not receive health insurance after you've passed away after retirement. Most people who choose option 4, it's because it's coming from a court order. Maybe they had a spouse and now they remarried and they have to leave the ex-spouse some money, and they also want to leave the new spouse some money, and they choose that option for those reasons. Or again, it's just an option that is available to you if you wanted to choose it, to name your children and maybe your spouse to receive a continuing benefit, or just the children and not the spouse. So you will be given those opportunities to choose an option at retirement.
You can change the beneficiaries?
Okay, so his question is, can you change the beneficiaries? So if you chose the unmodified plus option, for example, You want to know if you can change the beneficiary for someone else to collect the benefit? No, you cannot. You're locked in. So if you chose the unmodified plus option, that's a really good question. You choose unmodified plus so that the spouse can receive 100% or up to 100% of your benefit. But say, for example, your spouse passes away before you pass away. Can you now change that option to where someone else can collect the benefit? The answer to the question is no. Your benefit does not go back up to the higher amount, and no one will be eligible to collect that benefit. So her question is, she's married, well, was married, now divorced. She has her ex-spouse listed as a beneficiary. Can she take the ex-spouse off? Yes, you can. However, we will need to see a final dissolution of marriage document just to make sure that the ex-spouse is not entitled to a portion of your retirement benefit at retirement. Okay? So yes, while you're working, you can change your beneficiaries. If the ex-spouse is entitled to a portion of the benefit, if you do not submit a dissolution and maybe they subpoena us or the ex-spouse comes in with the documents, your benefit will be stopped and or delayed until it's all resolved by LACERA's legal department. So it's best to submit those documents up front. Her question is, she has 2 adult sons listed as her beneficiary. You're going to get married and you want to name your spouse and your stepchild.
Well, he's going to be, I'm going to adopt him.
You're going to adopt him.
So he's actually going to be my child.
Okay, is he a minor or?
He's 10.
He's 10. You can name whomever you want as your beneficiary. However, when you go to retire, it's just going to depend on what option you're choosing at retirement. If you pass away as an active county employee and you are in a contributory plan, the spouse is going to supersede anybody. If there's no spouse, then the minor child will supersede the adult children. So there is no continuing benefit for adult children. If you are an active county employee in a contributory plan and you pass away while you're in active service and you don't have a spouse, you don't have any minor children, but you have adult children named as your beneficiary, they would only receive a lump sum of your contributions, no monthly continuing benefit. Does that answer your question?
So in other words, the minor child would be getting a continual sum, but the adult children would.
Right. The minor children would only get a continuance if there is no spouse.
Oh.
And the minor child only gets the continuance through their 21st birthday, providing they stayed in school full time. So her question is, she's going to take off the ex-spouse, name her adult son as the beneficiary. So you're going to more than likely take the unmodified option, the highest benefit payable to you at retirement. So once you retire, and if you've collected all the money that LACERA has paid back to you at retirement, the only thing your son would be entitled to is a one-time $5,000 death benefit. If you had any contributions left in the fund, then he'd get the rest of those contributions. For the most part, all the money that you have contributed to LACERA after retirement, in the first 3 to 5 years, that money has been paid out to you. But LACERA continues to pay you a benefit for your lifetime. So if you live 10 years past retirement and you only have an adult son named as your beneficiary or daughter, the only thing that they will receive is a one-time $5,000 death burial benefit in order to possibly pay for some funeral expenses, but no continuing benefit for adult children unless you decided to take less at retirement up front to provide that adult child with a continuing benefit for their lifetime. Okay? Does that make sense? Well, it's going to be depending on the beneficiary's age. So everybody's is going to be different. If it's a son, the son is much younger than you are, your benefit is going to be reduced based on the actuarial lifetime of your son. So it will just depend on how old your child is if you wanted to take less to provide your child with a lifetime continuance. Okay? So this is an example of what the retirement benefit estimate and election form looks like if you were to request it from LACERA. This is Fred Flintstone, retiring March 31st, 2015, from a service retirement with about 28 years and 4 months of service credit in Plan D. The unmodified option is the highest benefit payable to him, so he's taking $4,167 for his lifetime, and if he passed away, he left his wife 65% of what he was receiving, which is $2,708. Or if they thought that's not enough money for her to live off on, they worked it out together, and he decided, Fred, that he wanted to take less at retirement. Instead of taking $4,167, he took $4,016 per month, but he provided his wife 100% of what he was receiving for her lifetime. With the unmodified plus, again, that benefit can be adjusted. For A, B, C, and D, it's anywhere from 66% up to 100%. For Plan E, anywhere from 56% up to 100%. Option 1, you see here, he's taken a little bit less in order to provide a lump sum of contributions to whomever he named as a beneficiary. Most people will take option 1 maybe if they're terminally ill, they don't have a spouse, and they just wanted to leave maybe a child or a friend, brother, uncle, cousin, someone with a lump sum of contributions, someone with an insurable interest in their life. Option 2, the reduction is much greater. They take 3734 in order to provide 100% continuance. And again, this is based on the birth dates of the husband and the wife. If it's a child, obviously, or if the wife is much younger or the husband is much younger, the reduction is going to be much greater. Option 3 provides a 50% continuance for whoever you name as a beneficiary. Oh, I skipped an option, I'm sorry. The pension advance option. Pension advance option is basically for contributory plan members. If you were to retire prior to the age of 62 and you are eligible to collect Social Security, you can say, I want to take an advance on my Social Security benefit through LACERA up until my 62nd birthday. What you would need to provide to LACERA is proof that you are, in fact, eligible to collect Social Security. So what happens is LACERA is saying, I'm going to give you, in this scenario, about $500 more based on the number of years that you've contributed to Social Security up through your 62nd birthday. But once you turn 62 years old, LACERA is going to reduce the benefit, whether or not you collect your Social Security benefit. And also keeping in mind that Social Security is going to reduce your benefit due to the windfall elimination provision. We don't get many people choosing that option, but you do have that option available to you. Again, it's just giving you a higher amount up until the age of 62, but once you turn 62, your benefit automatically reduces. So always, what I tell people is to find out what I'm going to be receiving from Social Security before I decide on taking that option. Because the idea is for that you to get back to your unmodified option plus whatever Social Security is giving you so that your benefit can stay the same. Most people don't want to get to the age of 62 and start taking less money because that's going to be money that you need for your lifetime, but it is an option that is available to you. The second portion of the estimate will only show these numbers if you have a contract on file with LACERA, verified or elected. So it's basically saying if you bought another 1 year and 4 months of service credit, this is how your benefit is going to be increased.